Well, welcome everybody. Thanks for coming. This is great. Thanks, Wes, for inviting me. Um, I just want to say I got my bachelor's degree from Cal State Fullerton, and I think I was thinking about this the other night. I think you guys are in the exact right place to be at a state university in a scale of a design course or a design school that's like this. I taught for 5 years at UCLA in the Graduate School of Design, both in industrial design and environmental design. It's on a quarter system. I think the nature of in my view, the nature of the experience that you get as a designer and as a young designer, being able to move pretty laterally across lots of different courses and across campus in a setting, at the UC setting, I think, or in this setting, is better overall. So, anyway, I think that that was interesting. I know I look back at my Cal State Fullerton years with a lot of kind of fondness, and we talk. I still have a lot of people I went to school with that were in connection, and lots of different design fields and art fields. So I think it's a good breadth. So I got my bachelor's degree and my master's degree. I got a master's degree in environmental design, with the first environmental design student to go through Cal State Fullerton in 1974 is when I graduated, and so I was able to design my own program, which was furniture design, filmmaking, graphics. I wanted to be an architect. They didn't have architecture, and that's kind of why I've gone into museum design, because it's an interior architectural kind of setting where I can kind of set the tone. I started to get another degree in Masters of Architectures many years later when I was at UCLA, and kind of decided against it because I like the way designers think more than architects. And I work with a lot of architects, I hire a lot of architects, and it's a great profession, but I like the design profession better in terms of what we get involved with. So, having said that, my studio currently is about 2,500 square feet. I have an open studio in the sense that I don't really have a lot of people working for me directly that's there full time anymore. I had an office that had 15 people for like 5 or 6 years that we just were churning out a lot of work, full-time staff. All of that's changed. I do a lot of consultative work, but most of the people that work for me still work for me, but they work for me on a subcontract basis. So we come in and brainstorm, and we take paintings off the wall, we hang up stuff, we do a lot of charrettes, and they pretty much come back and forth like maybe what you're doing where you're at school, where you're doing a lot of project and development outside, bringing it in, charretting it, discussing it, and doing that. So that's kind of my office. I use this as a conference room sometimes, or we set up tables where we have 20, 25 people coming in if we've got clients, and we meet, and then I just disassemble, and it goes back to 1 or 2 people being in the studio. So I'm mostly going to talk about museum design today and the work that I've done. The simpler work that I've done and that I've done historically, both for LA County Museum and a lot of museums, is to do space planning and design exhibitions for art exhibitions. This is an exhibit at Museum of Latin American Art here in Long Beach. They asked me to come down and design a couple of exhibitions and redesign the museum in some ways. They needed more galleries, they needed better entrances. So we consulted for about a year on a couple of projects. They didn't really have a lot of money, but then the work wasn't that complex. It was pretty direct. So this first exhibition was on a Cuban artist whose name is Fabello, an incredible painter, incredible artist. But he had two criteria in the work. The work was both large and very small, so it was both very public and intimate at the same time. So he had about 40 probably drawings that had to be framed and installed, and had a special situation that we needed to kind of think about for the installation of those drawings, in addition to, to the large work too. So they had, we designed a number of wall systems for them just so that they had more flexibility in moving through their space. What you're seeing now is a special installation we did for this, for the drawings. We wanted to create a kind of small courtyard for the drawings and yet still give you vistas across and into seeing the other larger paintings, and find a sense of discovery in the galleries as you're moving around to look at the work. So one of the things, in my angle as I'm viewing this, the screen is very wavy from the side, so the image looks a little funny. But let me just show you a couple things about this installation. So Because it had to be inexpensive, this is a 24-foot long kind of short wall system made out of hollow core doors, 4 foot by 8 foot, with 2 foot by 8 foot hollow core wardrobe doors laid on the side, supported by just pylons at the end, open-ended at the top so you could get in and screw the walls together, and that way that supported all the drawings. So for almost no money, they were able to very quickly, within a week, fabricate all of this, get it installed, make it structural, bolt the walls in, get it painted and articulate the space. So what I wanted to do with them, and what we talked about over time, but they just didn't have the money to kind of develop all this, is that for them to develop a lot of a modular kit of parts, that they could really rearrange the space and do something very architectural in the space as they went. The key here was to orient the work really in the zones of pockets created by spaces that you're in, so you always have a view of something else happening when you're turning and walking through the space. So the space isn't cutting off paintings halfway because of the way you've gotten things laid out and that kind of thing. Creating vistas across and through things, looking back toward the entryway in the very back. The video monitor, the introductory sequences are there, so even if you're leaving the space, there's a formality to what's going on and how you really approach what you're seeing. And then finally, just making sure that everything, that you can start to imply space and imply rooms in the space by just doing even something simple like putting a wall up and painting it and making it dimensional. That creates a little alcove or a room right there that makes one part of it special and another part of it kind of unique in another way. So that was the exercise for that. We then, actually prior to this one, we had done the Frida Kahlo exhibition, which was a traveling photo exhibition that came out of Mexico City. A couple of criteria were required here. One, the photos weren't original photos. They were original photos, but they weren't original prints. So they were copies, kind of copies that were in the archives brought up to be shown. The scale of the work was really small, and yet they've got this kind of cavernous space. So part of the issue was how do we reduce the space to make it visually a bit more in tune with the scale of the objects, and yet also have a larger space that you're moving through. So this is the kind of the same entry, same gallery, reconfigured in a different way. We created a series of boxes or platforms that interlock with the walls. Why is this going in and out? Am I bumping this? It might be. Let me just be careful.
It's falling out.
It's coming back on now, I think. No? Are we good? Okay. I'll try to stand to the side. So you can see there's just a, whatever that is, a 3 foot high, 2 foot wide, 2 foot deep section of wall that then spans the other two walls that are free floating, so they can bolt them together. They can start to create some niches and some windows as they go through. The high platforms on the bottom, or the high toe kick on the bottom, comes off of looking at her house and her compound in Mexico City and looking at some of the architectural details that she had. And then using that as a detail on the paint color and creating, paint at the bottom and the molding around the U-shapes. When you look at this, you can see that these align in the space, so that we're creating a series of rooms as you're going, but you're being able to look through a number of rooms sequentially. It does a couple things for you. One thing it does is that it tells you, the scale of the gallery and the space that you're in without even having to say much. I mean, psychically, you just get it. You look down and you realize, I've got a journey here. It's through a series of these, and I'm going to discover my way as I go. So that's one thing. And I think the other thing that I like about it is that these windows start to activate the space if you're moving through, and there's a number of people in the gallery. You're seeing people cutting through and moving through, and there's just a layer of interest of just kind of being able to observe things going on as you're walking through. So this went through 2 different galleries. It had something like 5 themes. Every theme had a different color scheme. Every theme had larger murals and a title wall that you saw as you walked through. So you're going from both intimate space, where you're creating smaller spaces for the photography. I'm going to back that up. So you see, like in this wall, just in grouping the photography, When I group stuff, I really like to group things with a little bit more bunched together. There's more open space as you get to the corners of the wall. So because your eye really looks at the shape. It sees shape first, then it starts breaking down the individual components. So you don't want to hang the work so it just keeps floating equally all the way out close to the corners. Or the ones close to the corners start dropping off and become insignificant, and you just start discounting them. So, so the work process in the studio, when we're working on bigger projects, what I realized earlier in my career is that I designed some work for LA County Museum. We did the Louis Cartier exhibition, René Lalique, a Young Talent, Creative Talent Award thing in the 80s. There was no money in it. I mean, it wasn't anything I was going to be able to support myself. And I had started a studio, and I needed to get kind of larger scale projects. Larger scale projects come with building projects. So we really realized we had to get together with architects. We had to look at new building in museums. We had to be part of a capital campaign, because people will spend money for the new building and they'll spend money for the inaugural exhibition. They won't spend money on continuing program. That's just very rare. So they're always writing grants. It's pretty low key. Which means that I was always designing then, in the future, I started designing a lot of objects or a lot of exhibits with objects. History museums, science museums, things that were intensively object-oriented where the staff just couldn't handle it. It was either too architectural, too many constraints on case design and all that, or the graphics or whatever. So that means we bring in teams, we bring in teams of writers, scientists, curators, other designers, graphic designers, and we sit, this is, this was the designer on the right from the National Museum of the American Indian. We're working on a new Smithsonian museum for the National Health Museum, which we won. We were one of 5 teams to kind of win a competition to design that as a proposal, which we didn't win, and it's actually never been built. But then a project manager from Universal Studios. There was a media specialist from Australia, someone from the Exploratorium, an architect who was in my office, the young lady smiling, a teacher who worked with me at who teaches at Art Center. You met the other night at the opening, Rob Ball. Anyway, so you can see we do what you do. We're pinning up stuff, we're drawing sketches, we're analyzing things, we're kind of creating databases, we're creating schedules, we're trying to hone down what are we doing, why are we doing it, what are we doing it, what are the ideas that are worth doing, how do we get our arms around this new museum, which was designed by Moshe Safdie, and make sense of this kind of crazy design and deliver on a program that the museum wanted to do. So this is, Ming Feng, an architect. I have a lot of architects that I partner with. She's from Hodges and Feng. And then Michael Dobie teaches physics at MIT. He came out. So most of these are friends who are in the area. They're going, yeah, let's go. Let's get together for the weekend. We'll do a whole, design charrette, and we do that. So that often happens in the office, and it's the way I like to work, where there's just a lot of ideas moving, and you're really trying to understand what's critical. So that's kind of the process we use for the Agua Caliente Museum. This is the Agua Caliente tribe is in Palm Springs. They've been there for 3,000 years. They wanted to do a museum on the history of the tribe. They owned all that land until the U.S. government came in and then put them on reservation and then divided all the land up in checkerboard fashion. An acre, every other acre is their property. That's why they have the casinos and they have all this property around town, and it's why you see so much vacancy in Palm Springs is they own half of that, and they consider the land to be a resource they don't really want to touch unless they have to. So we're going to do a museum of the canyons. Jones & Jones were the architects. That's kind of the view of the canyon. So we met with them, and it's interesting because you have these preconceived notions about what you think the design is going to be and what you think the objects are going to be and what you think the story is. And then we started meeting with them, and they're an oral tradition. They memorize everything. We sat in the first meetings with them to kind of find out what their stories were going to be and where they wanted to put their focus. And as we were waiting for the meeting to start, like 2 elders come in. I mean, people much older than me. They were in their 80s. They were like hobbling in, sitting down, and going, "Oh, George, I haven't seen you in a long time. How are you?" And he looks over and he goes, "Well, Helen, we've been good. And she goes, now how are we related again? Do you remember the Sabolas over in the blah, blah, blah? He goes, well, yeah, that was my second nephew's cousin who was, their oral tradition goes back 5 or 6 generations where they know all of the lineage of their families. So we sat in these meetings and they knew plants, they knew their families, they knew the history of what had happened 150 years ago in their tribe, all these stories that they then started relating. So we brought anthropologists in and others, and what they determined was that we had to create these main messages that they wanted to have in their space and how they wanted to organize the museum as they saw it. One of their key components was, through you, my ancient people, I am. They always are in reverence to older people and to the people who came before them, because their knowledge was passed down as an oral tradition for 3,000 years. So they had the net, who would be the person who would be the keeper of all these stories in a sacred way for hundreds of years or thousands of years. It would pass down from net to net to net. And they wanted to break the themes into land, knowledge, struggle, assimilation, and identity. So those are 5 big areas that were going to be in the museum. We knew that. And we knew it had to cover these time periods, from the ancient to the historical to the contemporary. Historical being from roughly 1850 or 1830 forward, and then contemporary. The distribution of themes then is that we thought, well, let's go through and let's figure out, well, how do you weigh all these things? How do you think about these things? Now, this is still all us warming up to how are we going to approach this content, what are we going to do, how is it going to work? But it gives us a little bit of an anchor to understand how we're going to go after these stories and categorize them in different components, and then try to find objects that bolt onto them in order to design the museum, because we don't know. So, and then we looked at, well, where are these? Where are the ancient stories? Where are the historical? Where are the contemporary? How do those divide up? So this just gives us a bit of a hook. Then we ask them about the defining moments. What are the key things that are going on in the culture that drive things in the culture? And one of the big things is, so they've got the origin story, which is how they see the universe. There is the origin story. They've passed on this origin story now for 3,000 years in their native tongue, which is not a lot of people can still speak it. Anyway, so it went down through all these stories, and then they see 1954. And in 1954, they burned the big house. They would burn the big house all the time. But in 1954, they decided we're going to burn the big house, and we're never going to build it again, and we're never going to speak the language again, and we're never going to pass down our stories, because we don't know the language well enough. The older woman in the tribe, it's a kind of a woman-dominated, not dominated, but organized tribe in a way. They're the hierarchy. She said of one of her sons, who was supposed to be the new net, you don't know the story 100%. And if you fail, our ancestors are going to hurt us. So as a tribe, they decided to not carry the tradition forward. That kind of makes me cry almost when I say it. It was really impactful to hear it from them. So anyway, so we decide that's the anchor to the story. We want to talk about this dividing line, this watershed of the past and the present, and the impact of whether or not they assimilate into white culture or they keep their own identity and what that means. So that's a very wordy background for what I'm just going to do here, because I'm not going to show you the whole exhibit or anything. But this is a 25,000 square foot plan. You kind of come into a lobby. We had areas of this that we were designing, but the main entrance was coming up through this rampway. And you see on the rampway, so the idea was, we didn't want to tell the story in a linear way, because they don't view life in a linear sequence. This isn't loincloths to bankers story. This is a story about a culture that is existing, it's ongoing, it's thriving, and in many ways they carry on all their activities just as they did 3,000 years ago in the way that they trade, barter, have reciprocity, take care of the land. They still have cultural basis for living, and so we wanted to share that story. So the idea was, enter in on a ramp, be 3 feet up at least, 3 or 4 feet up. So you get up to this height, And then if you have a wall from that height up higher, that gives you a 7 or 8 foot high wall in the rest of the gallery, so you've got kind of an enclosure, but up above you can see out over everything. So the idea was you're now going to walk up this ramp. You've got this circular piece you're going to go on. You have a ramp that comes back around, and you can now split off into any other part of the museum that you want to. Because it doesn't make any difference if you start in contemporary time and go back to history, or you start in history and go to contemporary time. None of us come to history or anything that we know from start to finish. We always jump in the middle, get interested, and then spread out. So that's how we kind of wanted to do this museum. So the image I'm going to show you next is a section through here where we said, okay, how do we illustrate that? And there are two stories we wanted to tell to get everybody on the same plane. The two stories were a giant map here of Palm Springs Desert and the mountains. And it's a map that's moving, and we're projecting over the map. And as that map is moving and it's lit as if the sunset's happening, you're hearing the story about the pressure, and that because it's so low in Palm Springs, it's the air pressure that's creating the heat in Palm Springs and creating this arid climate and creating all of this stuff. So we want to give a sense of place and geography to where you are. And then at the same time, we wanted to tell this story, which was the burning of the big house. So you come up and you walk up, and this is a perpetually burning big house into which is a cylinder, and into which we have a slanted piece of glass, and we're projecting stories, and the people who were telling that stories in the meeting are telling that story to the visitors. So now you know what's going on, and you know that now their grandmothers can no longer talk to their grandkids because the grandmothers don't speak English very well. So there's this divide that starts to happen in the culture, and we just felt that was a really powerful story. Anyway, I'm kind of going on a long time with this stuff, but another part of the story then was to walk into, we created this giant mountain range in the middle of the space to be fabricated, where you're standing inside the mountain range, and in that cavity is kind of to scale about a mile's worth of Palm Springs, onto which we're projecting other stories on the glass and back on the mountain range inside. But the palm trees are, you know, they're all about this high, and they're going to be blowing the breeze and everything. So you're going to see this kind of nature scene, but also you're going to see the stories and hear the stories of the origin stories, and you start to understand what this evolution of the tribe has been. So down below, what you're seeing is on the outside of that in the galleries, as you walk around, because of your angle of vision, we could create crevices and areas to peek into, and you could look at different places in here and see different vistas and never see this, and repurpose that with other films and things being shot over here that no one else would ever see. So you'd have this kind of private tour yourself, listing of the different origin story or the different initiation stories for young girls, young guys, you know, the stories of the net or whomever. So that was a way to kind of start talking about that. And then of course there's other things like, you know, how they deal with plants and animals, and another upper exhibit on some other topics about the village creation, some other things. So we had 25,000 square feet of these exhibits, and they raised $25 million for it. The tribe gave them $25 million. They never raised the balance to build it. It needed to be $50 million, and for 10 years they've tried to build it. They've never gotten it built. Because people in Palm Springs don't want to give money to people who have a casino, which is what we told them, but they, you know, that's kind of where they are. They're, it should have been, you know, kind of the history of Palm Springs in a way, and they could have still told their tribe, but it didn't work. This is the Chicago Historical Society. We won a competition to redesign 80,000 square feet of this space. This has got, I'm just going to talk about the entryway again. This is the model for it that we did at the end of design development. And what you're looking at here is an entrance into this space here. There's an L car, the first L car in Chicago we got. We were able to go to the Department of Transportation. They had just retired it. It had had 1 million passengers on it before. The museum collected it as an object, and we said we want it for the exhibit. So this tells the story then of the history of Chicago. And our thought was, they had a number of trains and other things in here. It also has 5 or 6 themes. The idea was to bring everybody up on the platform, and because they had so many costumes, so many historical artifacts from newspapers, ephemera, tickets, theater things, that you could then tell the story by doing a kind of Pepper's Ghost, or putting everybody, all the history in the train. So you're on this train track, or on the platform, you're hearing the introduction to Chicago, and then you splinter off into all the other venues and learn about the history of Chicago. And they've installed it. We took it through design development. It's been built. It's up and there now. We designed a number of other contemporary galleries from them. These are some of the graphics that were just presented for that, from theme panels, sub-theme panels, little reader rail panels, that kind of thing, signage. This is we did for the California State Parks and for Topanga State Park, we did a graphic system to talk about the flora and fauna of Topanga. So we came up with a system that was that's outside, that you could then come up and you could walk up and see the plants that are all in the canyon, vistas of the canyon, places to go. If you're hiking up, you get to other vistas, you see different terrain. And the concept with this was to use plein air painting as the focus in the photography. Instead of doing photography of what you're actually looking at, let's do plein air painting, and let's get the community of painters to paint all of Topanga and the Malibu canyons and stuff, and do illustrations of all the animals. So these are different sign systems that are to be put around Topanga. Details of talking about early homeland, the settlers' harvest, all of this. Inside the interpretive center, there was other signage where, again, we would identify the habitat zone where all of these predators and the raptors would be in this habitat zone. Each habitat zone has different animals and different things that happen in it, but it's for you to be able to kind of identify the habitat zones. It's part of the signage system. We were asked by, this is only probably 7 years ago. We were asked by the Cambria Library to design a kiosk as a kind of, the foundation wanted a kiosk to kind of give everybody's names who gave money to the library. That was the real reason for the kiosk. But their reason was, well, we wanted to be able to show everybody the programs in the library. It needs to be an events calendar. There needs to be all of this. And so we developed a kind of system or an album where you could come in and it's like a book on that desk that you can thumb through, and you go through different chapters and you find out kind of what's happening. Now, how do I activate the film? If I hit this, it's just going to advance. Can I click on it? Yeah, there we go. There it is. Okay. So this is an interactive book that we did. The cost of the project in total was $110,000. $45,000 was for programming. Then there was the cost of the cabinetry, the cost of installation, cost of the research doing stuff, and then whatever fees. So we built everything in Illustrator first in order to kind of talk to the programmers. But you can see there's we did a lot of sliding histories of the town and all of that. You can hit buttons and find what the architect said while he was designing the building and all of these things. And at the time, it was considerable effort, especially since we didn't know what we were doing. Which is, I think, a good thing. I often take projects I know nothing about, and I would encourage you to do it. I mean, the risk is a calculated risk on everything. I started my firm on a calculated risk when I left UCLA. I gave a presentation for a project with Hodges and Fung. We gave a presentation for a project for the California State Archives. At the time, it was going to be a $4 million project. We won the project, even though we didn't really want to work together. We came back, and after winning the project, we found I was able to kind of go in and meet with the architects from the state and other things, and what we realized was, oh no, they had $14 million that we could get for the project. So we built a 25,000 square foot museum with $14 million, and the architects said, we don't know how to curate a museum, we don't know how to design the graphics, we don't know anything about filmmaking, we don't know anything about... So we took 75% of the project. We hired everybody, we hired all the filmmakers, we managed everything, we did all the graphics, and that's how I started my firm. I mean, instantly, like we got the contract, and 3 weeks later we got an office and we were going. So taking risks, the same thing that happened at LA County when I started there, is it just, you just do it. You just say, no, we're going to be able to do this, and you do it. And so this is another competition that Walt Disney Family Museum wanted to do. They had never done a temporary exhibition before. They had another building in San Francisco. We renovated the building in San Francisco because we got the work. We did some illustrations. We did 20 of these. They had a program that was way outsized from what the building would hold, or what they really wanted to do, or what they had the money for. And at the end of the presentation, I think they realized that, because they said, well, how much is it going to cost? That was part of our presentation. I said, well, given everything that you've told us and all the films you want to produce and everything else, you're probably at about 1.8 million. And they said, well, what if we just did a watercolor show on all of the images of Snow White? We put that in there because we have to renovate the building. And they said, how many works could we put in there? Would it fit? And they said, well, what do you have? They said, well, we have 250 drawings that we want to display. So I said, well, I can tell you in 20 minutes how many walls you have to put in that space, because you just measure your frames, you multiply it times 2.5, and it gives you the number of linear feet of wall space you need to have inside the space. So that's just from doing this work for a long time, like at UCLA and hanging paintings and doing stuff at Boulder or wherever. So we calculated for them that you need X number of wall space to fit inside this building, which used to be a gym. And it was on 2 floors, and the 2 floors you could look out. This is a little, so you see, like there's the floor area. We're going to build 2 cubes inside that floor area. We're going to insert glass panels in that area. Then we're going to click on this, you're going to see, and then we're going to drop down banners from the ceiling and other banners from the ceiling, and then we're going to put the second floor that's going to be there is going to come down in a second. And we're going to put in divider walls. So now you can go through and do your 6 themes. We can divide the space up. We'll figure out how many pieces per theme can go in each one of them. And that kind of determines where the volumes get adjusted. And that's how we design the show. That's also why we got the show, just because we had the knowledge base at that point to do it. So now you're upstairs. We started the show upstairs. You look through all the banners. You have a sense of discovery. So I think the other thing we want to create, we're always wanting to create that you're looking through something and you're looking from vista to vista. And in reality, you want to look at what you're looking at, but you also don't want to miss anything, and you want to know what else is going on. So you look over the edge and you go, oh, I'm going to be able to go down there later. And then you go back and you start to focus, and you know how to pace yourself as you go through. Because I don't like going to some event or some situation where I don't know what I'm committed for. Like if you didn't know I was supposed to talk for 45 minutes, you wouldn't want to be sitting here because you're like, is this going to go on for like another 3 hours? What am I in here for? So you may even want the 45 minutes for light now. But that's the kind of psychological makeup you've got while you're in the space. But like most of the work that you're doing that I've seen out here, there are a lot of grids that we use as we're developing this. There's a center eye line we like to use. I don't know what we ended up figuring out here. This has probably got about a 61-inch center line. Now what you're going to notice, by the way, all of this was fabricated and installed in 2 weeks. Yeah. So, which was a big criteria. So we found the best kind of contracting group we could find, who'd done a number of museums in San Francisco. And they were really tight in terms of, no, we're going to pre-cut all the studs, we're going to pre-cut all the plates. And we measured the space and gave them really tight drawings. We knew down to the 1/2 of an inch where everything was in the space. And so, and you'll see drawings where we laid it out. From this measurement, from this top to this bottom here, is 5.5 feet. We could get 5.5 by 10-foot panels of MDF. So that became the basis of the wall system. We didn't want to tape. We didn't want to put edge bending on it. We didn't want to have to do a lot of mudding and sanding. We didn't have, we had to like get in and make it happen and make it look really good. And so that was the basis of it. So then how high can you put that, both upstairs and downstairs? Where's going to be the medium level? What kind of colors are we going to paint? The next thing is like coming back in and working on all the graphics and using these kind of monolithic glass panels where we're kind of laminating both front and back on the glass. and doing vinyl lettering, I think, on the face, and then in painting on the back, and doing that. Of course, we're running a lot of tests like that, and we're looking at different densities of glass before we really commit to the final thing. All the labels are they're bent sheet metal. So we did like a 78-degree angle bent sheet metal that we could hang on the wall, mount all the labels. All the labels had to be manufactured and put in graphically, full scale, in Illustrator, perfectly aligned to align with the piece that's on the wall prior to the installation, which meant that we had to know exactly where every piece was going, including the amount of space between each piece, the size of the frame, the matting. And it became a little compulsive, to say the least. I mean, it was a nightmare. But again, I think the glass panels help because it moves you in and out in a different way. It gives you a way to look through and kind of see things. There's a glass panel. The exit door's got something on it. And that's the end of the exhibit where you won the 7 Academy Awards for the 7 Dwarfs, all that. So this is what they gave us. They gave us probably 50 sheets of these images and their own code, which we then had to decode and create our own codes and databases. Then we had to kind of rescan all those images, put them together, import them into our drawings, place them to scale, place all the frames to scale in order to know exactly where these things were going to go, so that we could convince them that we knew exactly what was going to happen, because they were really nervous that something was going to move. So we had, I don't know, we had 30 sheets of these kinds of sheets. We have a whole sheet of all the elevations for all where the work is going to go. Then we have another whole sheet of elevations with all the measurements for the contractor, so he knows what's going on. So USS Midway, a very fast turnaround exhibit. Inside the bowels of the Midway, it was on a helicopter exhibit, history of the helicopters. Again, we're meeting with the people. We're sitting down with these old guys who flew the helicopters in Vietnam. We had all these stories about putting bubble gum outside the helicopter window and sticking it on the window so they could do a sight line, because that's where they really knew they could shoot. And that was better gauged than what the guides were on their instrument panels. And I mean, they had crazy stories. And so we had a lot of fun just going down there and listening to these stories endlessly. But we wanted to design a system that's, again, quick and easy. It's an aluminum panel system. It's 4 feet wide by probably 5 feet high, up on some aluminum railings and L-metal brackets in order to create this wall system that could be moved into the ship and moved into place. So you see we'll see the supports. And now you're seeing that now it's bracketed, it's angled, it's bracketed. It can receive models, it can receive videos, it can receive things. We have glass panels bolted onto the front of the aluminum panels. But what's nice about this is again, kind of a manufactured unit. I mean, all the graphics come in laminated to the aluminum panels. All the aluminum panels are already pre-fit and ready to fasten to the structure that we brought in there. Same with the glass panels sitting on the railings. You can see on the left-hand side, so the glass panels are being made somewhere, and they come in and they bolt in and sit down. But we do this, it becomes a full-scale mock-up in the office. This is another thing I'll say. 45 years of doing this, if you told me to design a coffee table for you tomorrow, I'd probably get my tape measure out, measure up, sit down, make a little prototype, measure it again, try to figure out. We always measure everything, even though the type. I can tell you it's going to be 72-point type for the subtitles, it's going to be 48-point type for the body copy. We test it every time because it changes. It does change. The distance, where you're looking at it, how dark it is, what the surface you're putting it on. So that's what we did here. We did a full-scale test and said, yeah, that's going to work, that's going to do it, and then you run with it. Then we did floor graphics. You can see those are in there. But the ceiling's only 6'8". I mean, it's a must-see. I mean, not the exhibit itself. I think it's kind of cute, but I think you really have to go to the Midway and see the Midway and go through their tour. It is mind-blowing. They built that ship in a year. Yeah, all the drawings, they're building the steel, they're welding it, they're doing all that stuff. That ship in 1942 or whatever, when it was built, was built in a year, and they were figuring out the wingspan of the airplanes, how they fold, how they fit in the doors, and these stories are all on the audio tape. It's just like your project. I mean, shit's going on, stuff's going wrong, and they're correcting for it. I mean, people are falling overboard. I mean, it's like, but they did it, and they went out to sea, and it's still there. It's an amazing, it beats Disneyland. I mean, this thing is really cool to go through. So, this is La Plaza is a museum that opened a few years ago in downtown LA at El Pueblo on the history of the Mexican Americans in Los Angeles. The unique thing about this was that I bumped into the client at an art opening 4.5 months before this show opened. It's a 7,000 square foot space in 2 parts of the building. They had 250 objects on loan coming from several museums, including the Smithsonian, and they were flying their objects out, where the curator was coming out with an object with the object in the seat next to him. They had a 650-person black-tie dinner, so the date couldn't change. And he said to me, "Oh, yeah," and I had worked with him before at the Getty and some other things, and he was now running this museum, and he said, "Well, maybe you should come by and see me. I think, we could probably use you to set up this exhibit. We have," and I'm going, and so I didn't even know this whole story until I went and met with him the next day. And I looked at him and I said, "Okay, I'm coming back tomorrow. I'm bringing, 2 architects with me tomorrow. You have to tell me everything. I want your curators in the room. I want everybody in the room." We had that meeting, and at the end of which, the associate director said, "Send us a proposal. We have somebody else who might want to design this." And I'm thinking, no one else is going to be able to do this. It's 4.5 months. You're never going to get this open, And the building was under construction, by the way. We had to pull permits. That's the space. 8 exits in 2 buildings. 8 exits, fire exits that had to be maintained. All this glass, all these windows. 250 objects with climate-controlled cases that had to be custom and designed to house big garments and objects and all of that. And we got to the car after the meeting, and the 2 architects said, "We're not going to do this. We're really not going to do this." And we did it. So we had 6 of us design this starting November 15th, and it opened at the end of March or early April, I think. I mean, it was just, so we knew we had to release construction. We had to go through all 4 design phases and release 130 drawings by mid-January to release the contracts for the guys to build it, install it, and then we had to get it clean to install all the objects. So here's the show. So the big thing is, here's all these columns in the space. The decision we made was, don't touch the columns. The columns are sacred. The architects redesigned the building. Let the building be the building. Let's build everything around it. All we did was put those graphics on the columns. It's the only thing we did. That's the entryway. It's called LA Starts Now. There's a kind of the title wall and insets, dimensional graphics. This photography was on both sides of the wall, that presentation in the front. So by the way, we also did 10 media presentations in that length of time. We hired 3 different producers, and you'll see one of the quick little clips. So they're working on the films, we're working on the graphics, we're working on all this stuff. And it just flows this way. We had 2 graphic designers, and there's a lot of graphics in here, as you'll see. But what was great about it? We had no meetings. With no time, it cuts out all the bullshit. I mean, we had no meetings. We had there's one great curator. We would meet with him, and we would just go in and say, "You got to have this by this day. You got to have it written. You got to give it to us, and it's got to be good. And you got to, And he got it done, and we got our stuff done, and because all that writing goes back and forth with the graphics people. There's errors, there's changes, So there's 15 iterations of these graphics that are going on, as you're seeing. So we backlit all the graphics. These are LED panels that we ordered from Canada. Came in Federal Express, got stuck in customs, couldn't really make them happen, but they finally happened. We dropped them into place. The wiring's underneath because they had a full basement, so we wired everything underneath with the low voltage. Comes up through the reader rail legs. So custom cases, custom reader rails. Inside the cases, there's silica gel, which is a kind of a substance to suck out the humidity and keep the level changes happening even in the cases. This giant wall is actually a map of, this is a map of Los Angeles recreated that's here on the reader rail. It's the original sketch of Los Angeles when the Spanish came and said, we want Los Angeles here. Here's going to be the pastures. These are the pastures right here. This is a tributary that comes through from the LA River. And that's the original Pueblo up on the mound. So we just made up the topo. It's a 24-foot long wall. It has to lean, and it's on rollers on a giant hinge because they had to roll out to get to the windows in case someone broke the window. So that's, and it rolls back in. All CNC cut, and then we routed in some of the graphics. So we have big theme panels. That's one part of the graphic system. Reader rails is the second part of the graphic system. These sub-theme panels, which are the vertical glass panels, is another element in the graphic system. Here's the custom design cases. Silica gel drawers slide out here. There's doors on the side. This whole side and the glass panel connects and opens up and closes. It's a two-sided case with vertical wall inserts, and then the lighting system dropped in. So we had two different fabricators. We chose one fabricator to do this and another fabricator to do everything else because we thought they'd be too overloaded and you'd never get it built. So then we built this kind of Adobe type structure to house some of the objects. But it's a mess. You're working on what's going in this case. You're thinking, it's hard for me to visualize a garment in the space and how you're going to support it. We brought in some fashion people, and they mounted them on these forms that they found or were able to get. And these fashion people knew how to really adjust all the garments, twist them, make them feel active. I mean, there were a lot of decisions like that were going on as we did this, and it was pretty amazing. Here's the grid for the reader rail, just a basic grid. So then we had a number of maps going on. There's people in the space during the opening. This was a map that we cut out. We cut this map out. We built this map in Illustrator full scale. We shipped the Illustrator file to the media producers. We shipped the Illustrator file as a cut pattern to the fabricator. This is a piece of MDF that's supported off a back wall at an angle. We have a projector overhead kind of hitting the film. And the film is pretty cool. It's a 4-minute film on the history of Mexico becoming, us taking over Mexico, basically.
In the early 1800s, North America was a continent of shifting boundaries and cultural turmoil. Mexico's hard-fought independence from Spain gave it claim to a vast swath of land. In Alta California, generations of people steeped in Catholic tradition lived an agrarian life centered around large family.
So what's nice about this is that this is a pretty quick overview for people to get the big picture of what's happening. It goes to 1910 in 4 minutes.
Until the 1830s, most Anglo immigrants who moved into Mexico.
It's basically a PowerPoint presentation, but it's on steroids because it's got animation and stuff.
America's manifest destiny had a different mindset.
The media fabricator has a program where he could adjust the warp of the image so he could perfectly align the pixels right to the edge of the map since everything was done the same.
And when the United States formally annexed Texas, Mexico saw it as an act of war. America declared war first. The Mexican government, beset with internal struggles, had little choice but to respond in kind.
So we can stop this now. It's on my website. You can come back and watch the whole thing on the website. It's a cool film. I love watching this.
Mexico were fighting was fierce and prolonged.
So that's going on. Then this is a map of Los Angeles that we had three-dimensionally cut, and then it's painted and kind of impregnated. And there's 4 or 5 films that surround that map or on that map about the economics of Los Angeles and all of that. So. So there's big strokes in terms of the design, just to kind of back up. The big strokes are we have these big tall banners, we have the set piece in the background that you see with the Adobe, we have the giant map, we have, there's big railroad tracks to scale on the wall mounted with a timeline that talks about the history of the railroad and how it brought so many Mexicans north. There's big design cues that give you a sense of movement in the history. and yet there's still a kind of overall design aesthetic that's pretty minimal, I would say, overall. You go from this space into a second space through these wood pallets. We use the wood pallets as a threshold because they were invented in 1929, and it kind of dawned on us, oh, we can't use that as an idea if they didn't exist then. That's going to be kind of weird. It turned out some guy invented them in 1929, and that's how they started stacking and doing everything. But anyway, so we used that as a way of moving through an entire wall, collecting objects from everywhere. And then we just used it by, sandblasting back into it. I think we didn't actually use wood pallets. We looked at a lot of wood pallets, measured wood pallets, and then designed our own to fit, because we wanted the height to line up with the walls, the doorway to be. So then you walk through, and then this space was a long, narrow corridor, so it was pretty complicated. So we had to loop you around. To the right, you come back, and when you exit, you're going to exit just to the left of us. So we wanted this angled glass piece to be an orientation device so you knew where you were going. Anyway, there's only a couple more images here on this. So they, programs for schools, all of this. We redid all the book covers, put new titles on them and stuff so you could get the content. And then because we were running out of time, and because this was a huge history politically, we did big newspaper and magazine spreads on angle to tell the story of contemporary time and the struggles for political awareness, the Chicano movement, etc. There's two more projects, all right? This one is, I don't even know how I'm doing on time. But anyway, do you have a clue? Okay. So this is the Siqueiros. This is across the street from the other one. This is El Pueblo, it's downtown. In 1932, David Alfaro Siqueiros came up here to teach a class at Chouinard in mural painting because he's one of the three great muralists in Mexico. Diego Rivera, Orozco, and Siqueiros are the guys. And in the 30s, they were world famous. I mean, they were everywhere, and everybody was really interested in what they were doing, and they were painting murals everywhere in Mexico City, and they were very charged. As you know, Chicano murals and Chicano art is, Mexican art for the most part, is a very politically active art. So he comes up and he paints a mural in 1932. He painted on a wall upstairs on one of the buildings in El Pueblo. And it used to be a beer bar up there. A guy commissions him to paint it. And it's 80 feet long. There it is on the rooftop. 80 feet long and something like 18 feet high. And he paints it in 3 weeks with sprayed concrete, air guns. He projects stuff on the wall. He has a team of painters. I mean, he's got Millard Sheets. He's got so many people from who both were at Chouinard and also went to Disney to work on Snow White and do other things on that. That's another reason I think why we got the Disney job, because we named all these characters. We did our research and said, oh, they painted on the mural, and But what's interesting about this mural, so he paints this mural, and what's crazy about it, I'm not going to get into the history of the mural, but it's got a lot of iconography. It has this eagle sitting on top of, I'll go to the next one, maybe that's easier to see. There's a double crucifix. There's a Mexican peon hanging on the double crucifix, and there's an American eagle that comes off the 1932 silver dollar that he takes and lifts. And it talks, and the image is really about American imperialism coming down, the Rockefellers and everybody, taking the natural resources from Mexico, making all the money, leaving Mexico destitute. And meanwhile, they don't even know their own history, which is why the Mexican muralists are painting. They're painting their history because in the Mexican Revolution, they discover all of this archaeology and all their past and all this imagery, but they don't have an education that tells them what their past is. And now they're really on fire, and they love Mexico, and they're angry with all these other countries coming in and kind of taking over for them. So this iconography has a lot to do. I'm just going to mention one more thing about the mural. So there was no photograph of the mural that existed of the entire mural, because the only photograph that existed that they had in the archives in Mexico City that we found had this corner of the mural burned and torn off, and other parts were kind of missing. And it's been reproduced in lots and lots of books, and we did a search, and somehow we got to the National Archives library, hired someone to go in there. They found this photograph, which was a publication photograph that was sent out the day of the opening of this. Newspapers wire photoed, I guess, images out. This image was one of them, and someone stuck it in the collection there and had it. And we paid a guy to buy a scanner and go in and scan it and send us the highest resolution scan he could get off of it. And he sent it back to us, and that's what the Getty used to conserve the mural, which blew my mind, because as a designer, you never think you're going to go, We were doing it because we have a big mural inside the space we wanted to use, and we needed something high fidelity, and it just happened that we got the best photograph. So now they have to get my permission to use the photo to conserve the mural. It's kind of funny. Anyway, so this is the exhibit. This is him in 1932. There's the diagram that's on the wall. The challenge here is, so how do you create a museum or a space where the story has no objects, and the only object that's on view, they don't know what it looks like, because there's no color photography in 1932, so nobody knows what the original color is. So they can't restore the mural to its original form. They can conserve it, and they can bring it to a point so you can get a feel for it, but they can't take the license to artistically go back in and do that mural. So now we've got a mural, we've got an object that doesn't actually work in a way. We have a great story, but no objects really to tell it. And they tell us that this is a historic building and you can't hang anything on the wall. We don't really want you to touch the walls. Everything has to be removable. So renovate the building, and then, and you're stuck with the traffic foot of the building. So the idea was to come in and say, well, let's create, I'm not going to get into the stories. There's a lot of stories about what was Los Angeles at the time. What was Siqueiros doing when he came up here? Why was he in prison? What were the students like? How did he paint the mural? What was the opening night like? We interviewed lots of historians. We've got them on tape. And so we created all these computers, or interactive computers. And like the Camarillo project, you can surf through and go through just a ton of content and find out what was really going on. And it was a great time, because there's all these people from Europe were over here painting and doing things. Neutra came to the opening. Lots of people were there. Duchamp. There's a lot of things going on. So it's very cool. So the way the system works, really quickly, is obviously these are the uprights. What you don't see is there's an angled speaker. It's a flat panel speaker about this size, angled at a 45-degree angle, that hits the wall and bounces back at your ear level, and then kind of carries on. Because we had to do something where the sound waves wouldn't intersect each other, because all these programs are operating and moving and stuff. This holds the Mac Minis that drive these computers, the amplifiers, the little sound systems, all the plugs and stuff, internet connections. The wiring comes up from the floor and runs underneath the wood floor. So then we commissioned the mural. We painted this mural in the studio. I didn't paint it. I composited this. I looked up all the people who we thought would have been there opening night. So here's the mayor of Los Angeles. This is the debut. This is the woman who had raised the money, Christine Sterling, to make Olvera Street in 1932, which is basically Universal Cities Tours or something. There was no kind of Olvera Street there before. It's a total made-up fabrication about the history of Los Angeles at that point, because the 32 Olympics were in town. So she's there, the mayor's there, Siqueiros is there, Siqueiros' teacher's here, his future wife is there, Neutra's there. There's all these characters are on the rooftop, and we have programs where you can then search who they were, how they're connected, and all of that. And so we just hired Chicano artists to come in and do the mural. So we gave them the original photograph. They took the roof site, they did that, they made up the building on the left, and they painted this mural, which is 20 feet wide and 8 feet tall. And it took them about 4 months to paint it in the studio. Anyway, and then we built the scaffolding, because he painted on scaffolding. We put all the objects, projectors, all that stuff in the scaffolding. The other reason is we couldn't do anything to the building. We couldn't change this doorway, right? So here's the doorway, it's gigantic. It goes up, like 12 feet high, it's 8 feet wide. It's like, And yet you've got a little narrow gallery space. We had to do something, so we filled it with the scaffolding, put objects in the scaffolding, and you walk through it just to give it, some level of. So the mural we printed, we printed. It was printed in China. We found some guys in London who were doing this billboard technology where it's LED lighting that's attached to the back of the photo murals. They do them in billboards, and you can time this. So when you come in here, you can actually interact with this, and it will ignite this figure. Sometimes it ray traces all the way around the figure, and then it lights up. Other times it just comes on. So there's the iconography then is selected out, and then you discover, well, what's the meaning of it? He didn't write about the iconography specifically, but a lot of historians have speculated, so we put together a story for that. Just some of the details of the construction, all aluminum. But here we go, I didn't know how far we could span on this aluminum I-beam. Can we go 20 feet? Can we do this? Can we do that? And so you're kind of racing to get these projects done, So we did do a full-scale setup in the studio, and we did some modifications and stuff, but it's doing this stuff from the seat of your pants, because how many of these am I going to do? You do one of them, and then you move on to something else. You're just always kind of producing. Here are the graphics. These are just the reader rail graphics, just to show you the grid. Those were all direct printed on aluminum. Everything was direct print on aluminum. There's the title wall. The little sketch is an underline for America Tropical because he's trying to figure out all the different angles and vantage points. So he lifted that little drawing and made that the title wall for the donor panel. And the other thing, okay, so that's the last thing I'll say on Sakaros is, I didn't feel we had the authority to tell his story for him. So everything written in the space is taken out of his writings at one time or another. It's all his quotes, it's him speaking in newspapers, it's other people interviewing him. So the entire history is real history, even down to that, taking that sketch and lifting it off and creating the title wall is all really about what he was doing and, and why it mattered. So, and this is him aging over time. So as you go through the story, you're seeing different parts of the story as he ages over time. Those are all the title panels on the media installation. Okay, last project. We're now designing we just finished designing last year a children's museum in Mexico City. We were one of 3 designers working on it, and we did about, 20, 30,000 square feet of space. And now they're building a second one in Ixtapalapa, which is in the southern part of Mexico City. It's supposed to start up in about a month and a half. And that's the building for it from an architecture group out of Spain. One of the exhibits that we designed was this exhibit on the body. And when we were approached to do it, we were approached from a fabricator who's really got the project, and he's going to build this thing in Mexico. And he said, would you do it? I don't have the design horsepower. And we said, yeah, but I don't like kids particularly. I don't have kids. I don't know much about kids. I think children's museums seem like a joke to me in a way at the time. But I thought, well, I needed the money. And so, yeah, okay, we'll do it. So we did it. And I have to say, this is probably the most interesting project we've had to do because of kids don't read. I can't talk to them. They're not going to listen. I can't write anything for them. They're not going to read anything, and they're just going to get in there. And so how do you teach them very critical things at an age that is critical to them? And what I didn't know, and there was a specialist that came in, is that kids at 5 years old, 4 and 5 years old, they're still attached to the family. They're really still, they're in the nuclear family, they're part of the family. By 5 to 6 years old, kids are now getting their identity, and they're getting friends, they're out away from the parents, and they're understanding that what they're doing and what's happening to them is a result of who they are and what they're doing. So if they fall off their bike at 6 years old, it's not mom and dad's fault, it's their fault, because they have to take some responsibility. So between that kind of 5 to 7, almost 8-year-old period, studies have been done that say if those kids don't have success in their life and feel like they can master something and that they can take risks and do things, and if they can't get some friends and make things happen, there's a really high chance that they will never actually get through school and graduate or actually go very much further after that. So the critical learning period is this period. So that's why children's museums are really kind of critical. So how they approach the learning for kids at that age and what they do with them to get them to interact and give them experiences where they can master is really something that's good. And that excited me. You know, when I heard that, I thought, well, that's worthy and that's good to do. So anyway, we did this exhibit on the body, and the body, you know, of course, you enter through the mouth. You know, that's kind of nothing new there. There's an operating room, and inside the operating room, there's stuff that goes on. So here we created teams of people going into the operating room. Each kid gets a little, you know, robe or a mask or a lab coat. They're standing around 2 figures. One figure's a male, one figure's a female. You know, one's got heart problems. So one kid comes up to the station, and like you would have to be the heart monitor. You know, you're going to monitor the stomach. So you can put the hands in the stomach, squish around. You know, there's blood shooting everywhere. There's stuff going on. Something's going on in the stomach. You could go over to the ankle, or you're looking at the ankle. Oh my God, he's broken his ankle. There's an x-ray there. You see it's broken in a couple places. You try to figure out what's going on with this guy. What's his body temperature? What's happening here? What's happening there? And they have to pull all this information together. In the meantime, I'm sorry I don't really have a better image of it, but you'll see this is like an overhead scanning device, which is fake, but it's moving, and it's pre-programmed to kind of show what's going on in the body. It's like it's x-raying the internal things and all that stuff. And the intern, whoever's doing the internship, is standing there saying, you're getting you guys to give them answers so you guys can make a diagnosis about what's going on with this patient and why it matters. Because the obesity rate's really high, the sugar content's really high in Mexico, the fertility rates are really high. I mean, you know, kids are having babies like crazy because there's a lot of abuse going on. There's a lot going on in Mexico that they really need help with. But culturally, it's hard for them to kind of deal with all of it. So this is kind of a nice way to get at a lot of key issues. So the woman happens to be pregnant. You find out because you give them a scanner, and it's an ultrascan, and she finds out she's pregnant. She's 18. So you know that allows the parents then to have a conversation with the kids, or other things to come up in other parts of the exhibit. So, and we met with scientists and social workers to determine some of that content. Actually, 4 women sat at a table that I was at, and they hounded me that it had to be real content. It had to be a pregnant woman. It had to be about obesity. It had to be about, you know. So that's kind of how we got the content. But you go through site, you know. So there's all these little interactive exhibits that happen in each of these stations. You climb through a stomach. It's got bacteria. You got to find the good food and stuff. You go through the intestines. Of course, it squeaks and poops and makes noises, and it contracts, and you come out the other end, which is just to be great fun, you know. Then we did a giant skull, and it takes 3 people or 4 people to operate the skull. One person can, and this is a design idea that came out in the middle of a presentation. So I'm giving the presentation about the skull, this tongue is there, and they're asking me about it. It's being translated because I'm not speaking Spanish. And I'm joking around and saying, oh yeah, no, one guy could go in and he can take the tongue, and he can like move it back and forth, and he can like push it out. So when his friends are on the other side, you know, he can kind of play a game with them. And the curators started laughing, and the director's laughing, and everybody's laughing, and I'm realizing that's what it's about. It's about having fun doing this, and how do you create the fun or some kind of energy. And other kids, each kid gets a different eyeball, and they can kind of work on well, one goes, the eyes work this way, another one can do the eyes that way. Somebody else has a camera that focuses the eyes because the eyes are a part of a camera system. So you're trying to then focus the eyes on someone in the room in the distance so that your ears can hear better about what someone is saying. So there's a microphone on the side of the skull that also goes over there. But it also connects everything to these senses. And this is how your mind is discerning how things are happening. So there's other exhibits that tell you how we're different from animals, what we discern that they can't discern, and why it matters. There's little games you play so you understand thought and how that works. Yeah, so are there any questions about whatever? So the question is, how do we bring in all these other professionals if it's a little bit outside of a traditional design trajectory? How do you budget for it, or how do you plan for it? You know, it's you know, it just works a combination of ways. You know, something like in the case of the Agua Caliente, there was an anthropologist, Lowell Bean, who had been writing about the Cahuilla Indians which is really who they are, the Cahuilla and the Agua Caliente from the 1930s forward. And he was about 75. He had a deep base of research. So in that, we had to negotiate, which took actually, in that case, it took a while to kind of negotiate how much access can we have to your research. And that was kind of an upcharge, which we talked to the museum about. But the museum knew of him because he was always close with them, I mean, the tribe. So that was to everybody's benefit for them to work something out. So that worked out fine. In the case of the National Health Museum, we were awarded a stipend to work on the competition when we won that segment of it. And so we just parceled out how much could we afford to bring these people in, you know, for a week or two, and we just kind of chopped it up and did that, and pretty much spent all the fee making books, doing all this work, getting papers done on that. It just depends. Usually, part of the reason we go through this conversation where we're working with the client, trying to find out what their mission is, what they're doing, what they want to do, why they want to do it, who do they have, what volunteers are there. It goes pretty deeply into a knowledge base for you as a designer for what your scope is going to be. Somehow you can now identify, well, I have a scope here. The scope, like we have a project coming up for a university who has an archaeological collection that's got 4,000 objects. They're at a university, they teach off those objects. And one of the things on the table is whether or not I help them with the curriculum or not, in terms of interpreting those objects in a museum setting. You know, so I just create a menu list in a contract of things they want me to do or could do that could come in and out at different phases in the project. And then it's like ordering dinner. You know, they pick what they think they can do, and I'll tell them what'll work or won't work, you know, for us to do it. Mostly it's, I mean, there are times we curate and do everything and design, and we write the educational program and stuff, or, you know, or we just design. That's why it was nice working with Museum of Latin American Art. You know, they had all the objects. I didn't have to think about anything. I just said, you know, hey, here's where all the walls go. This is the color. These are the heights. This is this. Do the graphics. I'll approve them. I suggest this. They did some of it. We did some of it. Just that was really easy. And in some ways, you can make, you know, it's quick in, quick out, and it's nice. But it just kind of, each thing is different a little bit. I haven't seen, I think the La Plaza project was supposed to be up for 1 year. It opened, there was a big fiasco that happened there were things that happened with the institution because there was a Native American burial ground next door to it that was in the news and like all this stuff, and you know, there's a church there. So it was supposed to be up for a year, it was up for 5 years. I think this year it's just been dismantled because the loan requirements on that from each museum vary, and they'd had to replace objects and stuff. So I don't know what's intact up there. The Siqueiros project should still be up and operational, although one of the graphics people about a month ago called me and said, oh, you should go down. They're taping up signs over some of these things. They're putting arrows in new locations, and they're, you know, things are happening with the client that I haven't gone back to check on, but that should be up and running. The Camarillo is up and running. They just dismantled the Hollywood Bowl. That was here. Go to Mexico City, see the Children's Museum. Yeah. So Portland Zoo is opening, just opened 2 weeks ago, an interpretive center we did at the Portland Zoo. So that's open and permanent up there. You know, I don't know what they did with it or if it's still up and running. I know that they took the film and it's shown in a lot of schools, you know, because in 4 minutes, it's a good lecture for someone in 4 minutes. And so it has been viewed, I don't know, a couple thousand times on our website. So I don't know, but I don't, it's just a piece of plywood, basically. It's a piece of MDF. I don't know what they did with all the reader rails, with all the, we did a lot of media consoles and cases out of aluminum that I didn't show you. There were 10 freestanding monoliths that had equipment on the bottom that were very thin, with thin monitors. I'm presuming they're reusing those, but I don't know. Most of this stuff gets, after 5 or 6 or however many years it's up, my guess is they gutted the Hollywood Bowl finally. Because the technology changes. I mean, just look at that Camarillo project we did. We did a big screen monitor, but like a year and a half after we finished that, the iPad came out. Like, oh damn, that would have been nice, Just done Apple AirPlay and an iPad, and we would have been done. We wouldn't have got the contract. Somebody in house would have done it. So, yeah. The question is, what's the favorite part about it? There's a lot of good parts. I love space planning. So I like going in and like with the Disney thing, saying, oh, it's a numbers game. And it's like you're shuffling the cards, you're working on the space, you're trying to create this certain thing. I like the space planning and the kind of architectural thing that happens. I think I'm good at it, and yet there's an architect in my office, Peter Seifert. We work together all the time, and he always has a new little twist about something he can bring in and show, which is really cool. But so the space planning is definitely one. I'm not a graphic designer, and by that I mean I don't dream about type. I don't dream about the thickness of paper or ink. So I know that's really not what I do, even though we do the graphics. So that's a bit more of a functional thing. So I would say the space planning. I also like the point at which you get to a point in the project, like with the Agua Caliente, where you have those moments where all of this confusion, suddenly there's a pattern that makes sense for the story. It all comes together. The themes come together, you have a way in, you know the impact, and that's really exciting, because then it gives you the information to check back on every aspect of the project. And how's your design work serving those things? I don't know. I don't know that. It's always interesting to walk through the space and see the space after you've done it, if it matches what's been in your head. That's always cool. When I worked on the LA County Museum project for the Cartier exhibit, the space was only half as big as this room. And they had all this expensive jewelry, and it was going to be the only exhibit open while they were renovating the museum. And this is 20 years ago or 30 years ago. And I didn't really have the experience architecturally to do the project in a way. I mean, I built a lot of things, and I could draw, but so I went out into the parking lot of where I was living, because they had 16-foot high ceilings, and I couldn't envision what a 16-foot high ceiling was. So I got on a step ladder, put tape up there on a big retaining wall in our parking lot, chalked out the diagram of the space, and stood around and looked around to kind of feel it, to see if all the proportions were right. And then we did all the drawings, they built it, and it worked. That's exciting. It's that kind of reality check always. It's that. Yeah, I mean, it's just rewarding. And the other thing that's really nice is that you never know what you're going to do next. It's also frustrating, because you don't know what you don't know if it's going to happen next or what. And but it's it's good. It gives you a lot of good dinner stories. So for a period of time until you forget them. Okay. Well, you can imagine the question. What's the advice I have for you after 45 years as you're starting your careers? One thing I didn't do well, I think, in retrospect, is I only worked for one other company my whole life. And that was Sussman Prasia. And I worked with them a graphics company. I worked with them for 6 weeks. I liked them immensely, and I didn't think they knew what they were doing at the time. It was probably me who didn't know what I was doing, but anyway. So I went to work for myself, and that's when I started my early exhibit stuff. Then I taught, and then I started a new office. So one piece of advice is, I think it's healthy to go to a lot of different firms and move from firm to firm, get a big network, see how a lot of people are working and where your strengths are in team meetings and this and that, and what you can bring to the table, you know. Because I think I do see designers who I think, in my mind, have probably gone further business-wise or gotten into a corporate setting because they hone themselves to be corporate animals in a way, you know, where they're working more and more with groups of people. I'm a kind of a lone ranger, and I like people, and I bring a lot of people in to work with me, and we have a lot of fun when we work, but basically I'm so happy when they leave, you know, and I'm just there, and I'm just me, just working away, you know. So one thing is I wouldn't be afraid to go out and do a lot, and I wouldn't say you'd have to be in the design field. You could go out and run a trash collection service and have a great idea and figure something out and be entrepreneurial and take whatever you've learned in that into a design studio. It's like what I was saying about getting into the Native American Museum and saying, you know, there's no start point in your knowledge or end point. There's only now and only what you're doing and the attitude you have and how you're going to think about it as you go forward and how you're going to relate everything you've done into something you're going to do. So do as much as you can and just and get out there. That'd be my thing. Don't be afraid. You know, you're always going to be afraid. You know, I shared with you. I mean, I was afraid last night. I thought, I don't want to do this. You know, I don't want to put this shit together and come down here. I don't have anything to say. I don't like my work. You know, I mean, it's like, you know, it goes on and on. You know, I don't like it. I don't like the typefaces I had to use because some weren't downloaded properly, and PowerPoint didn't want to do it. You know, you never finish. You're never happy. I mean, you're excited, but you're never really done, you know. So that's I would do that.